we have been discussing chapter number 3, that is group behavior. Now we all know that organization is a group of people that works towards a single goal. When many people come together to work for a single goal or to perform a common task, then there are so many dynamics which influences the productivity of the group. We must understand that the way an individual behaves is completely different from the way that same individual behaves inside the group. That means that once a person is in the group, then the way the person works will be different. So there are so many factors that influences the group processes, which in turn influences the productivity of an organization. So today we are going to talk about the factors influencing group processes, or we can say the group dynamics. So we will be seeing group structure, then we will be talking about the norms of a group, the status of the groups, the composition of the groups, and the cohesiveness of the groups. So all these factors influences the way people work in the groups, whether there will be high productivity or low productivity, whether people would like to remain in the group or would like to leave the group, whether people will be highly motivated to work or they will be demotivated to work because of the presence of the group. So first of all, let us talk about group structure. Now a group structure defines the formation, arrangement, articulation of the members of the group. It decides how people will be placed, what kinds of position they will have in the group. Now because of this group structure, we have a leadership. Now leadership is always there formally in an organization. But even if there are informal groups, leaders are there, because there requires a person in a group who will control the group or who will lead the group towards a goal. So that's why leadership is always there in any kind of group, whether it is a formal group or informal group. Now because of this leadership, the way a leader treats other people, the productivity of the group is influenced. Now the second important factor of the structure is the roles. Now as far as roles are concerned, what is the meaning of roles? Roles means the way an individual is required to behave in a group, that is called a role. Or in other words, what kind of activity an individual should be involved in is called a role. Now every individual in a group may have unique role, or their roles may overlap with each other, or even an individual may carry out two different roles. But because of all these different roles, the way an individual will work differs. So let us see some of the factors which are related to the roles in a group. So first of all, the role identity is very important. Now what is the meaning of role identity? Role identity means the expectation of the group out of an individual in a way that individual needs to behave, or the task that individual needs to do. That is called role identity. So every person in a group will have a particular role identity. For example, people have financial roles, people have planning roles, people have marketing roles, different types of roles of the same goal is there, or of the same task is there. The second important factor is role perception. Now role perception means the idea of an individual on how that individual is expected to work. So role perception may or may not coincide with the role identity. The role identity is a definition of a person's task, but the role perception is the way an individual perceives one's role. So here the individual may be correct or may be wrong in perceiving one's role. So due to this role perception, there are confusion in the task, and that is why sometimes individuals end up not fulfilling their roles. The third factor of role is role expectations. Now role expectations means the expectation that every person has out of any kind of role. So that means that they have identified their role, and now they expect their role to be in some particular manner. But if such roles differ from their own expectations, then they may be demotivated. The fourth factor of role is the role conflicts. Now again, what is the meaning of role conflicts? Role conflicts means sometimes people feel that this is my role and this is not my role. Many a times people get confused, and in that manner, and because of that, there are role conflicts. People may feel that others are responsible for a particular task, and that is called a role conflict. So this is how the group structure, the way a group is formed, the leadership and the roles will influence the way people work in a group. Now let us see the second factor, that is the norms of a group. Now what are the norms of a group? The norms of a group are general rules or the guidelines of how a group should be, or how a group member should be, act or interact with others. So the examples of this may be how people need to interact with each other during the meetings in a particular group, that is called a norm. So some groups may have norms like only formal interactions, and some groups may have norms like interacting or developing friendships or informal relations even during the meetings. So what kinds of conversations goes on, that also is defined by the norms of a group. Even things like how a person dresses includes the norms of a group. The third factor is the status. Now status is a socially defined position or rank which is given to groups or its members. Now it has a huge impact on the group processes. For example, if a group has a mix of people who have different statuses either in the society or in the group, then what will happen? Very obviously, the people with higher status will try to dominate the groups, and also people at a lower status will always try to conform with the group or will always try to belong to the group. So they will always agree with what other people say. So this will influence the working of the group. The next factor is the composition of the groups. Now as far as composition of the group is concerned, groups will have diversity because every group will require different kind of person based on the skills required by the task of that group. So because of the diversity of the group, every individual will take up the task which conforms with their skills. Now because of that, many a times there will be a conflict or there will be a disagreement with people because every person is different. The diversity in the group can also be in terms of age or background or the skills that people have. So because of this diversity, there is a lot of disagreement or conflicts in the groups. Secondly, the group size is also a very important factor as far as group processes are concerned. The size of the group is very large, then it is very difficult for people to coordinate with each other. Also, a large group provides what is called as social loafing as a challenge for the group processes. Now what is this social loafing? Social loafing means that there are certain number of people who always keep on working while the others will work less or sit idle. Now why this happens? This happens because people may feel that if others are doing, then they are not required to do it. And their unproductivity is hidden behind the productivity of those who are working hard in the group. So in social loafing, actually, there is thing which is called free rider effect. Now this free rider effect means that people who do not work may hide their unproductivity behind people who work a lot. Their inactivity in the group is covered up by hard work of those people who are working. So that is called the free rider effect. So here these people takes the advantage of those who are working hard. And in this, the people who are working hard will be overloaded. They will keep on working a lot. At the same time, there is another effect of social loafing, which is the sucker effect. Now, what is the meaning of this sucker effect? Now, as I said, that social loafing means there are two parts of the group where one part works very hard and another part do away without working. So when this happens, the part of the group or the people of the group who are really working very hard on the task will realize that the others are relaxing because they are working hard. And because of that realization, these people will always work at a lower productivity. Now, because of this, the tasks which are carried out in the groups will not be at its full potential. So that is why the sucker effect will reduce the productivity of the group even more, because the people who are already productive will now become less productive after looking at the lazy people. So this is how the composition of groups will affect the group processes. Now the next factor which affects the group process is cohesiveness. Now what is the meaning of cohesiveness? The closeness that members feel in the group is called cohesiveness. Now the more cohesive a group, the more is the productivity. Generally, cohesiveness is achieved in small size groups. When the groups are very large, there is low cohesiveness. And when there is high cohesiveness, people are motivated to work. They like working in the group and they will always stay in the group. But if the cohesiveness is low, then people would leave the group whenever they get a chance. So this is how even cohesiveness is a very important factor as far as group processes is concerned, because it gives belonging to a member of a group. It makes the person feel important in the group and as a part of the group. So that is why it is very important. So I hope you have understood all the factors that influence the working of a group. Thank you.